The Senate will come to order. The senators will take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. Good morning, senators. Good morning. Good morning, guests. Good morning. The senators and our guests, if you are able, please stand. We will be led in prayer this morning by the Reverend John Sines, Jr. of Rock Pike Baptist Church in Forest. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by R.J. Nina, Jr., Senate page from Fairfax.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, creator of all things, master of the universe, and giver of all life, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we thank you for the blessings of this day. We thank you for this General Assembly and those who have answered the call to represent their communities as lawmakers here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Your word teaches us that whom much is given, of him shall much be required. So we ask, Lord, for your wisdom on these men and women today. We ask for your Spirit to guide them as you do the rivers of water. For they are in your hands, Lord, and their decisions will affect thousands for generations to come. We thank you for this gathering, Lord. We thank you for this responsibility. But most of all, we thank you for giving your son, Jesus, born of a virgin, who died on the cross, who rose again in supernatural splendor to redeem a fallen world, and who is at the right hand of the Father, ready to gather his church. For it's in his name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Monday, January 15th, 2024.
The senator from Orange, Senator Reeves, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 2, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 34, noes 2, Rule 36-1. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the House of Delegates. Chair calls on the senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Sorovell.
Good afternoon, Madam President.
Good afternoon.
I would move to waive reading of the communication from the House.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? All those in favor of waiving the reading will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The reading of the communication is waived. The clerk will now report any communications from the governor.
I do not have any, Madam President.
Now comes the time in the morning hour when we will find out who our wonderful, distinguished guests are in the gallery. And so my usual proceeding is that your senator will rise and speak about you, and please rise at that time when your name or your organization is called, and hold your applause until after I also get the wonderful opportunity to recognize you as well. And so with that, I call on Senator Peake, the senator from Lynchburg.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I rise for the purposes of an introduction and a thank you.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, we were started off in prayer by the Reverend John Sines, Jr. from Forest, Bedford County, Virginia. I first met Reverend Sines back when he was a musical director at a church in Amherst. Before he became a pastor, Reverend Sines worked for a good time in Nashville as a singer. As good as a preacher as he is, he might be a better singer. He's really good at both. But Reverend Sines has worked with Hank Williams Jr., Alan Jackson, Travis Tritt, Waylon Jennings, and among many others, but also with the greatest country music singer of all time, the late, great George Jones. Before he became a preacher, when Dale Earnhardt died in 2000, he wrote a song that became a hit called The Black Number 3 in tribute to Dale Earnhardt. Then after 9/11, he turned to being a pastor and serving the needs after that much hurt, and he has been a pastor ever since. He is accompanied today by his associate pastor, Douglas Allen Campbell. Thank you, Mr. Campbell. It is a pleasure to have them here. I would ask that you please give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Good afternoon again. Out of us here today, just share the royalties when you do. But thank you so much for what you do in the community, and thank you, Pastor Campbell, for coming along and seeing your Senate in action. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Sergeant at Arms.
Maldonado.
Please receive it.
Thank you. Madam President, I've been directed by the Speaker of the House of Delegates to inform the Senate that pursuant to Rule 5 of HJR 48, the House of Delegates has postponed the special and continuing joint order relating to judicial elections until Wednesday, January 24th, 2024.
Thank you, Delegate. Chair now calls on Senator Deeds, the senator from Charlottesville.
Madam President, I rise for the purposes of making two introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, my first introduction is for Voices of Virginia's Children. They host a 9-month cohort of young changemakers on an advocacy council. The group is Virginia's Youth in Action, or VAYA. This youth development program enhances young advocates' abilities to engage with lawmakers to advance their communities through advocacy, storytelling, and community engagement. VAYA VAYA members are from all over the Commonwealth, representing various regions and identities, including APIDA, Black, African American, Muslim, immigrant, neurodivergent, a young mom in school, and a foster care alum. The purpose of the cohort is to create a space for youth to have a voice at the table and to establish meaningful change and influence in the systems that have impacted their lives. Today, VAYA engaged with various lawmakers, lifting up the issues of youth mental health, healthcare access, early childhood education, and community violence prevention, among other key issues important to young people. Madam President, I ask you to welcome Virginia's Youth in Action to the Senate of Virginia.
Good morning to you, or I guess I should say good afternoon. One thing that the senator has said that gives me, I guess, great joy is that he said a phrase, youth development. And another phrase comes to mind with that, and it's, how will they know unless we teach them? So thank you for being willing to be taught, and thank you for being willing to be a part of making things better for everyone. Thank you for being part of the legislative process as well. Make sure you do go see your senators and your delegates and let us know what's on your mind. Thank you again for what you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Again, Senator Deeds.
Madam President, we're fortunate to have a group in the gallery that are advocates for the Second Look legislation. In the gallery are members of the ACLU of Virginia, Sisters in Prison Reform, the Humanization Project, No Left Turns, FAM, F-A-M-M, Impacted Citizens of the Commonwealth, as well as several formerly incarcerated men and women who've returned to the community and are now business owners, parents, community leaders, advocates, and yes, even lobbyists. They have come from all corners of the Commonwealth to meet with several members of the General Assembly in support of the Second Look legislation for people who are incarcerated in our jails and prisons. It's important that we acknowledge that people change and that our laws should reflect that. I ask that we welcome and that you give the warm welcome of the Senate to these Second Look advocates to their Senate.
Good afternoon. One of the things that I love about this country is that we get a second chance. And indeed, we've heard that your parents and business leaders, lobbyists, and so many other things. And as one who was part of a prison ministry, I'm so glad that, as we always say, you can be better than how you started. And thank you so very much for showing us that it is indeed possible and everyone deserves a second chance. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purpose of two introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. Ever since I've gotten here, I've gotten these multiple introductions, but I'm very proud to introduce to the members of the body again a beautiful young lady who is the beautiful daughter of my seatmate, who is not so beautiful, which shows that thank goodness her mama's beautiful, so she got all mama's looks. But I also want the members of the Senate to understand that this is the second day in a row that she's been here to watch us work and to watch over her father. And she is not truant. She's actually out of school, and she's brought two more of her friends they're all very excited to see the Agriculture Committee do its work today. And so if you would, please extend the warm welcome of the Senate to Reagan McDougall, the daughter of Diddy, and Zach Mejia and Penelope Mejia.
Good morning. I keep wanting to say good morning, and I don't know why. Maybe because I'm hung up on the word good. Because it's a good day always to make a good impression, and I think that's what you young people are doing, making that good impression. And also, I think, being a part of the process, and you've heard me already say, it's good to be sure that your voices are heard. So thank you for coming. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the body, in the gallery today, we have a very special friend of mine who's an amazing man and has an amazing story. Chris Williams is a dear friend of mine who has an interesting history. Growing up, his dad was the general manager of the Martinsville Speedway. And over time, he became friends with Dale Earnhardt Sr. and then worked for Dale Earnhardt Sr. and was a part of revolutionizing the way that sports merchandising was delivered to the consumer. An amazing talent and amazing stories. He's got great stories about Dale Earnhardt Sr., who we lost tragically at Daytona. But also, he is now the owner of the Southern Modified Auto Racing Teams Tour, the SMART Tour, where open-wheel modified cars race in our short tracks here in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Real grassroots racing. I encourage everybody to come out to a race. I've got a team there with Hermie Sadler. We run in Virginia at places like South Boston, up at Langley. We run at Franklin County. We run even outside of Ashland. So would love to see you all there. It's really bringing back short track racing at the grassroots level, which is important because in Virginia, we started racing. And Madam President, the start of auto racing began with perhaps the running of illicit, untaxed whiskey, as we like to call it, in Franklin County, but produced such greats, including but not limited to NASCAR Hall of Famer, who we honored here in this body, Wendell Scott, who is the Jackie Robinson of NASCAR and broke the color barrier, one of my favorite heroes of all time. So, Madam President, if you would extend to my friend, Chris Williams from Martinsville, Virginia, the warm welcome to the Senate, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Williams, some of us actually still do modified racing on the regular roads, and we have the blue lights. We have the blue lights that help us celebrate it. Not I, of course. But thank you for the jobs that you provide, certainly, and for doing your part to make Virginia the best place to live and work and raise a family. Senators, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The 33rd District, newly created, encompasses Herndon, McLean, Great Falls, Wolf Trap, and a very special community called Reston. You all might know that Reston was created by Bob Simons as a planned community to encompass a multi-ethnic, multi-race, and the ability for everybody to live together. It was created in 1964. And the Reston Association, which governs Reston now, has over 60,000 members, making it one of the largest community associations in the entire United States. Reston has been one of the most prominent communities in America, and it's right next door to where I live. And I'm so happy that I have some neighbors here who have been very active. If you know Reston at all, you know that the people who live there are extraordinarily politically engaged. They are willing to come and use their voices to let you know what they're thinking about. They're highly educated and motivated to try to make positive change. And today we have the CEO, Matt Cummins. We have the president of the board, John Farrell, and the vice president of the board of directors, Jennifer Juszczyk. And I ask, Madam President, that you give them a warm Senate welcome. Thank you.
I heard something that warms my heart, and it's that a community was created. And part of the intention of creating this community in 1964, 60 years ago, was for the purpose of learning how to live together, how to work together, how to be neighbors at a time when that was sorely lacking in so many places, including in the North. So thank you so very much for continuing that very purposeful beginning. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair now recognizes Senator Jordan, the senator from Isle of Wight.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Today across the Capitol, we have an exemplary group of individuals that keep us safe daily. More specifically, we have the National Emergency Number Association as well as the Virginia Association of Public Safety Officials here visiting our Capitol. We're so fortunate to have them as part of our communities, servicing us every day, even in highly stressful and difficult situations. I hope it would be the will of the Senate to give all of our public safety officials visiting the Capitol today a warm welcome.
The beauty of you being where you are as 9/11 dispatchers is that when we call, you are going to be there and somebody is going to come and rescue us. Thank you for that. And I know the calls that you get, I'm sure that it can be very distressing. And it probably means that we have to ensure that you get the very best therapy. And I mean that in the best way, so that you can continue to help us. Because if you're not there, then who will do it? So thank you so very much for letting that stress be part of your life so that we can be saved when we call you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Bagby, the senior senator from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise for a request.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that the journal reflect my seatmate, the senator from Petersburg, is away from the Capitol, tending to pressing personal business.
Senator, the journal will so reflect. Resolutions, petitions, and bills are now in order. Hearing none, Chair calls on Senator Sorovell, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, pursuant to Rule 5 of HJR 48, which is our scheduling resolution, I move the special and continuing joint order relating to judicial elections to be held on Wednesday, next week, the 24th of January, at the conclusion of the morning hour. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, we were supposed to do the judicial elections today, but we're still trying to, and the judges and workers' comp is all together, but we're trying to get a consensus with the other chamber about the SCC. There's some real urgency to that, given how long that's been vacant, and we need to get Commissioner Hudson some help. And so we're pushing this a week to try to get all that done, which is the reason for the delay. Nothing else for anybody else watching out there. There's no judges that are in danger. But that's what we're doing.
The question is, pursuant to Rule 5 of House Joint Resolution 48, the scheduling resolution, shall the special and continuing joint order relating to judicial elections be held on Wednesday, January 24th, 2024, at the conclusion of the morning hour? All those in favor of this motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The special and continuing joint order will be held on Wednesday, January 24th, 2024, at the conclusion of the morning hour. Is there any other business to come for the morning hour? Hearing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Uncontested calendar, Senate bill on third reading. Senate Bill 111, a bill relating to Drug Control Act, Schedule 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Chair calls on Senator Peake, the senator from Lynchburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, members of the Senate, what a glorious and spectacular day this is. This Senate Bill, not 111, but 111, the first bill that will make it off the Senate floor for the 2024 session. That's all right. I can handle it. If it doesn't, I still get to give my speech. Not only is it the first bill that will be coming off the Senate floor, this is Mark Peake Day at the Virginia State Senate. It is the only bill that will be voted on today. It is my honor to present this bill and to welcome y'all here to my day to pass this bill. It actually is a good bill. It is a good bill, Senator D. It's a very good bill. A very good bill. First, but I know y'all are saying, what if this is his only bill? It's not. I have 20 other great bills. 3 mistakenly were killed yesterday in courts. I'm sure people will be bringing those back for the next committee meeting. But this bill is to take advantage, to clean up the code for the criminal chemists out there who keep changing the chemicals to make illicit and illegal and dangerous drugs. So we have brought the code up to speed to list these chemicals. So I would hope that it would be the pleasure of the body to pass this most excellent bill on Mark Peake's Day at the Senate.
Chair recognizes Senator Sudeline, the senator from Roanoke County.
Madam President, I'd ask the senator if he'd yield for a question.
Will the senator from Lynchburg rise and yield for a question?
I'm looking forward to this.
Does
Yes.
the
Yes.
senator yields. Senator Sudeline has the floor.
Madam President, I would ask the senator, when he came before the Senate Education and Health Committee, now chaired by the senator from Chesterfield, at that time he was not able to pronounce any of the items that he was going to be prohibiting. Is he now able to do so?
Madam
Senator
President,
Peake.
I would answer the senator from the Star City of the South, Roanoke. That is not what I said. I said I did not want to show off in front of the committee by reading out all of those chemical and names, and I still don't want to show off in front of the body, and I will refuse to show off because that's not my style.
Thank you, Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin County.
Thank you, Madam President. Speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Very briefly, this is a perfect example why you should not take drugs before you come here to present your bill. Say no to drugs. Don't do drugs. But this is a good bill. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion, in favor of passage, will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on second reading.
Chair recognizes Senator Sorreville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar, pages 2 through 3, Senate bills 12 through 173, be advanced to their engrossment and third reading in the block after the adoption of the amendments thereto. Any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 2 and 3, Senate Bill 12 through Senate Bill 173, be engrossed and advanced to their third reading in the block, and after the adoption of the amendments thereto, that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will now read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 12, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments from Rehab and Social Services be agreed to? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendments are agreed to.
Senate Bill 51, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with amendment.
Again, Senator Favola.
Madam President, I move that the amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Senate Bill 173, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services.
Madam.
The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed and advanced to their third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills are engrossed and advanced to their third reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
Chair calls on Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all Senate bills on first reading on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 3 through 8, Senate bills 48 through Senate Bill 375, that the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles thereto be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles of Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendar, pages 3 through 8, Senate bills 48 through Senate bills 375, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Chair again calls on Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that all those bills be passed by for the day.
Chair recognizes Senator Sturtevant, the senator from Colonial Heights.
Madam Chair, I rise and ask to briefly return to the morning hour for an introduction.
Let's get this vote recorded first. Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, now on second reading, go by for the day? All those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day. Senator Sorovell.
Inquiry of the clerk. Does that complete the calendar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Madam President, can I rise for a point of personal privilege?
The senator may continue.
Thank you. Today in the gallery, we have a very familiar face. It's my honor and privilege to introduce my former boss, State Senator John Cosgrove. He is in the gallery today working hard for the VMRC. I had the privilege and honor to work for Senator Cosgrove when he was a delegate and then a senator for 22 sessions, 23 years. So he is my family, and I just wanted to ask the Senate to give him a warm welcome.
Senator, thank you for coming back to the old haunt. It's not been the same without you. I remember 22 years ago when we were delegates together and we would drive up on the weekends and back again with the new senator. How things change. Senators, let us give our former senator the warm welcome of his colleagues. Senator Sturtevant. Senator Soroville. The senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just ask that all members of the Senate Democratic Caucus go back in the closet over here for a meeting as soon as we adjourn today. Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? The clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, the Committee on Privileges and Elections will meet 40 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room B in the General Assembly Building. This is a time change. Privileges and Elections will meet 40 minutes after adjournment. The Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources will meet 30 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room A, General Assembly Building. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Education will meet at 3:30 p.m. in the Senate Finance and Appropriations Room, 13th floor, General Assembly Building. Senators Locke, Lucas, Obenshain, Stewart, and Hashmi. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Health will meet at 4:00 p.m. in Senate Room C, General Assembly Building. Senators Favola, Suderline, Bagby, Aird, and Durant. Tomorrow, Wednesday, January 17th, 2024, the Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Public Safety and Claims will meet at 7:30 a.m. in the Senate Finance and Appropriations Room, 13th floor, General Assembly Building. Senators Eben, Lucas, Marsden, McDougall, Pillion, and Hashmi. The Women's Legislative Roundtable will meet at 8:30 a.m. in House North Meeting Room, Room 700B, 7th floor, General Assembly Building. The Committee on Finance and Appropriations will meet at 9:00 a.m. in Senate Room A, General Assembly Building. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 1, the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 2, the Capitol.
Chair recognizes Senator Reeves, the senator from Orange.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a quick announcement, if I may.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, member of the Chamber, tomorrow morning will be the first GAMVIC meeting, the General Assembly Military Veterans Caucus on the 6th floor, starting at 8 a.m. Also, a reminder, February 8th is the GAMVIC reception. We hope to have the Commandant of the Marine Corps coming in. If we can't, he had some health issues. If he can't get here, we'll have the Secretary of the Navy, I hope. So, thank you, Madam President.
Chair calls on Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon on tomorrow.
The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow? All those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.